morning. Good morning. My name is Tim Atkins, and I am proud to serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. My pronouns are he, him, and welcome back to the First Unitarian Church. Where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your wholeness. No matter who you have been, who you are, or who you are becoming, we greet you today with love. And no matter how you're joining us this morning, I'd like to extend a special welcome to everyone watching us on YouTube. Last I checked, we had 17 folks joining us on the live stream. During the prelude, YouTubers, please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're joining from. If you're in Oklahoma City, what neighborhood you're in, or if you're elsewhere, what city you're in. And now, the prelude prepares us for worship.
This morning we light our chalice here in our building in Midtown, Oklahoma City, on land that was home to indigenous peoples, including the Apache, Caddo, Wichita, on land that was taken from the Creek and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. And because we are a multi-platform congregation, our chalice is also lit today in Norman, in Guthrie, in Northwest Oklahoma City, and in other locations unknown. We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope. You will note that we have 2 candles lit this morning. One is a candle of peace, which is a symbol of our concern about the situation in Ukraine and our care for the Ukrainian people. The other is our memorial candle, which is lit this morning in remembrance of Barbara Webster, who died this past week. Let's take a moment of silence to remember her bright and graceful spirit and to hold in love her dear family, Kathy, Bill, Meredith, and Thayer. The author and activist Anne Lamott says that there are 3 kinds of prayer: help, thanks, and wow. This is definitely a thanks and wow kind of day. I want to start our service today with thanks. I want to give thanks to our Health and Safety Committee who have cared for us so well. Thanks to our tech volunteer, Chris, up there. Who has been with us week after week. Thanks to Paula Geisinger, doing all of that critical behind-the-scenes accounting work. Thanks to our church leaders, the trustees, who have piloted this congregation through unimaginably difficult times. Thanks to all the leaders of committees, working groups, and teams, and all of the volunteers who have remained engaged throughout this long ordeal. And this part's hard to say without crying. Thanks to my colleagues, Tim, Nathan, and Marlise, who have worked so hard and done so much. Thanks to all of you who have kept this congregation alive in your hearts. And then, wow. Can you just live with me in that wow moment for just a minute here? Our ground level sanctuary folks, would you turn around and give a wave or a namaste bow to one another and then up to our folks in the balcony? Balcony folks, can you give a wave or a namaste bow back? And all of us who are here in the building, can we lift up a big good morning to the people who are joining us online? Good morning. And you two people, if you want to say hello as well. They say hi. Our opening hymn today is appropriately Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, which will be sung today by Kate Rotler with Warren Palmer.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come
before I begin our time for all ages, we have a special surprise for Reverend Diana Davies, and she doesn't know this is about to happen. And that is a challenge when doing a worship. All right. So I would like to invite Leanne Wagner, our congregational president, and Scott Harvey, chair of the Human Resources Committee, to make this special announcement.
Hello, precious ones. I'm Leanne. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I have long, wavy brown hair, a black mask, and I'm wearing a black shirt and gray cardigan. I am honored to stand in our beautiful sanctuary for the first time in almost 2 years and to celebrate and honor our beloved minister, Reverend Diana. We'll see if I can get through this. Who has completed the Unitarian Universalist Ministerial Fellowship process. Her final fellowship was approved this month. I know I speak for the entire congregation when I say, congratulations, Reverend Diana. We are deeply proud of you for your dedication and perseverance in completing your final fellowship, and are grateful to have you serve our UU community. Completing a UU ministerial fellowship is a multi-year process that includes hands-on experience, mentorship, a master's degree, psychological testing, and reading an extensive list of texts. The Ministerial Fellowship Committee required that Reverend Diana demonstrate skills in worship and rites of passage, pastoral care and presence, spiritual development for herself and others, social justice in the public square, administration, service to the larger Unitarian Universalist religion, and leading our faith in the future. Your Board of Trustees and Committee on Ministry have been part of the evaluation process for the last 3 years, and I am happy to report that our beloved minister greatly exceeded all expectations. Reverend Diana is so very deserving of the honor of being a fully fellowshipped minister. Here, come out a little farther so they can see you on the camera. So Reverend Diana, this congregation benefits from your deep well of compassion, grounding, honesty, thoughtfulness, love, nurturing, and dedication every single day. We are so thankful for that your spiritual journey brought you here to us at First Unitarian. Your prophetic voice has brought a needed breath of life to this community. We are thankful for you. We are honored you chose First Unitarian. We love you. Thank you for being our minister. And today, most of all, congratulations on the approval of your final fellowship. I think Scott Harvey, our chair of our Human Resources Working Group, has a few words.
There's also some sacramental word.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the HR committee wanted to celebrate this important milestone for Reverend Diana. So we put together a collection of gift cards totally unrelated to the church, like gardening and restaurants and coffee shops and museums and stuff like that. It's just a small token of our appreciation. We're so glad you accepted our call 3 years ago, and congratulations.
And now our time for all ages. Many years ago, in the land of Transylvania, in a mountain valley watered by quick rushing streams and shadowed by great forests of beech trees, there was a village of small wooden houses with dark shingled roofs. The people in the village were of the Unitarian religion, and they wanted to have a church of their own. A church set on a hillside, they decided, looking down upon the village as a mother looks upon her sleeping child. So all the people of the village labored long and hard to build themselves a church. The stonemasons hammered sharp chisels to cut great blocks of gray stone, and then set the stones into stout and sturdy walls. The glaziers made tiny panes of glass and fitted them neatly into the windows with leaded lines. The foresters sawed tall beech trees into enormous beams and laid the trusses for the ceiling, and then covered the roof with close-fitting shingles that wouldn't leak a drop of rain. The carpenters carved wood for the pair of wide-opening doors, setting them on strong pegs so the doors hung straight and square. A bell was brought from a faraway city, and then hoisted by ropes with a heave and a hoe to the top of the tower. The weavers wove fine cloths for the altar table, cloths embroidered with flowers and edged with lace. The smiths hammered black iron into tall lampstands and hammered thin bronze into shining oil lamps. Well, finally, when the building of the church was done, the painting of the church could begin. The painters mixed bright colors, royal red, shimmering gold, brilliant blue, and everyone in the village, old and young, all genders, came to decorate their church. They painted flowers, they painted trees, they painted designs around the windows and different designs around the doors. And at the end of the day, when it was finished, when their church was finally done, all the people of the village stood back to admire it, and then to sing a song of happiness and praise. Their village had a church now, a church set on the hillside, looking down upon the village. "Let's eat now," announced the elder of the village, because everyone was hungry after a long day's work. "And later tonight, we will come back to pray." So the people of the village went down to the hillside, to their homes and to their suppers, all except one little girl named Zora and her father, who stayed behind. They had brought their own bread and cheese. They ate their food slowly, having a picnic, sitting on the grass on the hillside and admiring their new church with its stone walls, its tall tower, and its magnificent bell. After they had eaten, they went back inside, opening those carved wooden doors to go into the gloriously painted sanctuary. "Oh, look, Father," Zora cried, running from picture to picture, with her footsteps echoing off the stone walls. "See how grand!" "Yes, it is," said the father, looking and nodding with pride. "Yes, it is." "But Father," she said suddenly, "we have not finished." "What do you mean?" "There are tall iron lampstands all along the walls, but there are no lamps. The church will be dark when the people come back." "Ah, no, little one," said her father. "The light of the church comes from its people. You shall see." He rang the bell to call the people to worship, and then took his daughter by the hand and led her back outside. They waited on the grassy hillside next to their beautiful church of strong gray stone. The sun had set behind the mountains and night was coming soon. Yet in the growing darkness, tiny points of light came from many directions and moved steadily up the hill. "Each family is entrusted with a lamp, little one," her father explained. "Each family lights its own way here." "Well, where is our family's lamp?" "Your mother is carrying it. She will soon be here." The many lights moved closer and closer together, gathering into one moving stream, all headed the same way. growing larger and brighter all the time. Zora's mother arrived, holding a burning oil lamp in her hands. The father lifted Zora so she could set their family's lamp high on its tall iron stand. And all around the church, other families were doing the same. And soon the church was ablaze with a light in every corner, for all the people of the village had gathered to pray and to sing. All through the worship service, Zora watched the lights flicker and glow. She watched her family's lamp most of all. And when the service was over, her father lifted her high. She took the shining bronze lamp from the lampstand. Its curved sides were warm and smooth in her hands. Her mother carried the lamp home with the flame lighting the way. The lamp flame lit their house, and when they returned home, Zora washed her face and got ready for bed by the light of that flame. "Mother," Zora began, as she climbed to the bed to lay down. "Yes, little one?" her mother asked, tucking the red wool blanket around Zora's shoulders. "Father said the light of the church comes from its people." "Yes, but also the people take their light from the church." Over on the table by the fireplace, the shiny bronze lamp was still burning. "And we have that light every day." "Yes, indeed," said her mother. "And even when we are not in the church, even when the lamp is not lit, we carry the light of truth in our minds and the flame of love in our hearts to show us the right way to be. That light, the light from truth and love, will never go out." "Never?" asked Zora. "Never," said her mother. "And this bronze lamp will last for many, many years. And when you are grown, we will give the bronze lamp to you. And when your children are grown, you will give the lamp to them. And all of you will carry it back and forth to church every time." "But there's only one lamp," Zora asked. "So make another and let the light grow. And someday tell your children to make more lamps too. And now, good night." Her mother kissed Zora once on the cheek and once on that cheek and once on the forehead. Zora closed her eyes and drifted into dreams while her mother looked down upon her sleeping child. The years passed and Zora grew. The bronze lamp came into her care. She kept it polished and clean. And when the bell rang out across the valley to call the people to worship, she carried the lamp back and forth to that same church on that same hillside, the flame always lighting her way. And when the time came, she made more lamps and gave them to her children, who made more lamps and gave to their children, and so on it went throughout the years, even to this day. And always the light of truth and the flame of love from that Unitarian church on the hillside continued to grow and show them and us the way. The end.
Every Sunday, we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work, our Change for Change partners. For the month of February, I see people getting into their purses, and you don't have to do it right now. For the month of February, our Change for Change partner is the FOS Collaborative of Meadville-Lombard Theological School. Meadville-Lombard is one of just 2 seminaries in the United States that are grounded in the Unitarian Universalist tradition. Meadville-Lombard is the home of the FOS Collaborative, which is a cohort of religious educators committed to developing inclusive, anti-racist, theologically grounded resources for faith formation. The FOS Collaborative's work directly impacts people in congregations and other organizations through innovative curricula that dismantle status quo and cultural walls and support people in living meaningful, socially conscious, and spiritually grounded lives. If you're here in the building today, don't worry about it now. As you leave, You can leave your offering in the plates that are by the door. And you can also make your gift by sending a check to First Unitarian. Just write "change for change" on the memo line, or make an online payment through our website, oneuc.org. I am just so thrilled. This is so special. For our offertory today, we have a special performance by our own Dex Marble. In many ways, we are moving into a new home today, a home that includes this old, beloved building, as well as the spaces occupied by those who are joining us online. A home composed of the memories of the past and the dreams of the future. Would you join me in blessing this home? As I say the words of blessing, would you raise your hands and focus the love energy of your hearts? We're going to start with this part of the church that's called the chancel. And let's begin with the most important thing up here. Whoops. Our chalice. Our chalice is the symbol of our covenant and our commitment to beloved community. After spending some time in my dining room, which functioned as a virtual sanctuary for a while, our chalice is back on the altar, a place of honor, a sacred place. Chalice, may you burn bright. May you light our paths of learning and our spirits and remind us of the principles we hold dear. Next, we move to the singing part of our chancel. The choir pews, the organ, the piano. For a while longer, we must refrain from singing together, but we will raise our voices as one again. For now, let us bless this space. Blessed be the music. Blessed be the instruments of music, the piano, the organ, the voices, the strings, the reeds, the brass, the percussion. Blessed, too, be the silent music which lives within our hearts. Next, we move to the lectern and the pulpit, the spaces from which words are spoken in freedom and in love. We honor the voices that have resounded from these spaces, the educators, the lay leaders, the worship associates, the ministers, the guests. We honor our heritage of free speech. Blessed be the word spoken in love and in truth. And moving on to the pews, may we take a moment to imagine all of those who have sat in these spaces, who have brought with them their pain, their joys, their commitment, their doubts. May these pews be blessed as sacred spaces of seeking, of learning, of challenge, and of community. Moving to the doors, we honor all those who have entered through these doors, those who have entered and found a home, those who entered and felt rejected, those who entered and are with us today, those who entered and are no longer with us. May these doors be blessed with the spirit of radical welcoming. May these doors be blessed with the spirit of expansiveness. May these doors be closed to hate, even as they are open to love. And now let's bless the newest part of this home, the cameras, our AV tech deck, and beyond them, all of those who are joining us online. May you too be blessed. Through the ether, through electricity, through technology, know that you are not apart from this place. You are a part of this place. You are a part of this home. May we all know the blessings of community. May we all know the blessings of love. May we all know that we are home. May it be so. Amen. I'd like to invite Rodney Goddard up for a testimonial.
Not as agile as I used to be. Patsy and I have been a pledge unit since 1987. It has, the pledge, been either the first or second most expense in our household, so we take it seriously. But now I will speak for Rodney because I don't dare speak for her because I want domestic tranquility. One reason I pledge is the simple fact we have to have revenue to have programs. We must bring in pledges so we can expand our outreach in the community. We're not like the Federal Reserve. We cannot print money to spend. But it's more than that, other than a personal assessment that we all very carefully do as a community. In fact, the pledge of various members is the best kept secret in this church, and I think that is the way it should be. But why else do I pledge? I am on a journey. This is an experiment. This is an odd merger. We have merged the Unitarians who believed worship was anything, the body below the neck should be dead, and the Universalists that said life is good in the heart. So we have head and heart, and we also have intellectual freedom. We have the right to be right, but we should never gloat over that. We also have the right to be wrong, but to move on if we're proven by the democratic process to be wrong. Okay, and we also, excuse me, it's kind of hard with the, okay. Also, this experiment exposes us to new ideas, an expansion of human knowledge. Also, the main thing this experiment is to expand the goodness of us as individuals and as a community. That is why I pledge. Also, I pledge because the future of the Age of Enlightenment is in danger from all sides. And this church is an experiment and showing a logical way that people can work together as a community. And therefore, we must be at the table when humankind has to make the hard decisions about the environment, about population, and artificial intelligence. So we must have money because we've earned a right, because we have gone through all this within our community. Finally, I pledge because there could be somebody like I was in 1960, coming home from a Methodist retreat over at St. Luke's. We stopped at 13th and Dewey at the light. And a child looked over there and said, "What's that church on the corner?" And our sponsor said, "That's a Unitarian church." The same person said, "What do they believe?" And our sponsor said, "They don't believe in the divinity of Christ." Isn't that awful? Well, it took me 27 years to get here to think it wasn't that bad. And there have been 27 years of people pledging to keep the doors open, and I intend to pledge to keep the doors open as long as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. I'd like to share with you this reading that I shared a few weeks ago from the beloved Buddhist teacher and peace activist Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed away last month. Quote, "I have a disciple in Vietnam who wants to build a monument for my ashes when I die. He and others want to include a plaque with the words, 'Here lies my beloved teacher.' I told them not to waste the temple land. Do not put me in a small pot and put me in there, I said. I don't want to continue like that. It would be better to scatter the ashes outside to help the trees to grow. I suggested that if they still insist on building a monument, they have the plaque say, "I am not in here." But in case people don't get it, they could add a second plaque, "I am not out there either." If people still don't understand, then you can write on the third and last plaque, "I may be found in your way of breathing and walking." Unquote. For nearly 130 years now, members of First Unitarian Church of Oklahoma City have gathered as a congregation. For about 95 years, the congregation gathered in this building. It didn't always look the same. Additions were built and burned down and were rebuilt. Furniture was moved around. Sunshine once streamed through these windows, and then they were blacked out by a new building put right behind them. And then they were lit up again pretty recently, this time with artificial light. But always, throughout all the changes, going to church meant going to a place. Not always this particular place. Sometimes, for example, it was a place like Robbers Cave State Park. But still, there was a place that you could point to on a map, and in that place, there were people. There were beloved people, familiar faces, people whose very presence was the secret sauce that helped to make a simple place into church. I think, for example, of Pat Corley, who passed away during the pandemic, who many people referred to as Mr. Church. But then the unthinkable happened. A devastating virus that has killed nearly 1 million people in this country alone. It took our place away from us. Church services no longer happened in here. They happened out there, out in our homes, at our computers. And along with that change of place, the people changed too. Some were right here in town, but were unable to connect virtually, while others, located in other parts of Oklahoma and other states, sometimes even in other countries, were able to connect. It became possible for people to move away and still be with us. It became possible for people who couldn't get to church to still get to church. But church, in this case, became more of a verb than a noun. To church, as an infinitive. And now, here we are. But where is here? What does that even mean now? Those beautiful words of Thich Nhat Hanh offer an answer to that question. Our church isn't in here, but we're not out there either. And this isn't some kind of quantum physics, some kind of Schrodinger's cat of congregations. When Thich Nhat Hanh says that he's not in here or out there either, he's not saying that he has disappeared. He still exists. He exists in the very person who is standing beside his monument, reading that plaque. He exists in the way that person breathes and the way they move. Even though his body has been buried, he continues on in his students, in his friends, and all those who seek peace and practice compassion. And so it is with our congregation. Church is not in here. Actually, it never was. But it's not out there either. It is time that we stop thinking of church as a noun, as a place or even a person or a group of people, and think about it as a verb. And this isn't my idea, it's not a new idea. It's become kind of a trendy concept among some Christians, but it's actually not such a modern idea at all. Back in the 15th century, the word church was used as a transitive verb. It was used to describe the act of offering religious services to a woman who had just given birth. And it was used to describe the act of religious education. And this is how I'm suggesting we think of it. Church as a noun, verb, and adverb. As a place, yes. As things, the music, the words, the symbols, the traditions, and certainly as people. Beautiful, unique, beloved people. But also church as the act of teaching. Church as the service we do for others. Church as the work we do for the sake of equity and justice, wherever that work may take us. And church as how we are in the world, how we live our lives, how we respect others, how we love this planet and this world. This is how we continue. As individuals and as something much, much larger than any individual, not as people in a place, not as people in a place, but in the hands that serve, in the way we reach out and change the lives of others, in the little bit of good we can do while we are still here. The last time we met in this sanctuary was for the memorial service of Eloise Dicus on March 15th, 2020. Since that time, we have lost many beloved members of our community, and we haven't had the opportunity to grieve their passing in the traditional way, and mourning together and crying on one another's shoulders and holding one another. Those opportunities will come, along with a backlog of joyous occasions, including weddings and child dedications. There is a backlog of mourning. And we will experience that together soon enough. But for today, let's simply lift up the names of those we have lost. I'm going to begin by naming some of the members, friends, and members of our extended community who have passed away since we were together last. Please understand that the danger of putting together such a list, especially after a time of such enormous loss, is that someone will inadvertently be omitted. So I'm going to ask you to, for those of you who are on YouTube, while I'm speaking, if you would put into the comments the names of other members, friends, relatives, and loved ones who have passed away during this time. And for those of you who are in the building, at the end, I'll ask you to lift up those names. Today we light a candle for Margot Hewitt, for Linda Larison, for Joshua Rydberg, for Gordon Deckert, for Philip Horning, for Pat Corley, for Nancy Condit, for Mark Cates, Dorothy Driver, Jane Deckard, Ben Fogel, Jim Gordon, Nadine Ellis, Ruth Males, Corey Wanser, Paul Gill, Lois Hewitt, and Barbara Webster. Tim, are there others to add? Veronica Lynch. Are there any other names that anyone would like to lift up? Please feel welcome to just say them out. Bonnie, Scotty, for all these and for the many who are unnamed today, we hold them in our hearts, we honor them in our memories, and we pray for peace. Please join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life, source of all creation, we come together today as one community, some here in this building, some far away, some living, some dead. We are hopeful, we are worried, we are angry, we are overjoyed, we are heartbroken. We are snippy and irritable. We are cold and disaffected. We are completely exhausted. We are just waiting to see what happens next. We love one another. We are annoyed by one another. We disagree about important things and petty things. We are grateful. We are resentful. We are a tangle of hopes and expectations, projections and illusions, habits, good and bad. We bring out the best in each other, and sometimes we bring out the worst in each other so that we might learn to be better. And for all of it, we say thank you. What a miracle that so many things, so many events, big and small, conspired to bring us together. What a miracle that individuals like bright meteors flash through the skies of our lives, but the ground of community persists. What a miracle that the sun rises and that we keep going. What a miracle that we are alive, that we have lived at all. For all of this, we say thank you. Amen. Our closing song, again performed by Kate Rotler and Warren Palmer, is We Are Not Our Own.
We are not our own, earth forms us, human beings on nature's growing vine, fruit of many generations, seeds of life divine. We are not alone, earth names us, past and present, peoples near and far, family and friends and strangers. See us who we are. Therefore let us make thanksgiving, and with justice willing and aware, give to earth and all things living liturgies of care. Let us be a house of welcome, living stone upholding living stone, gladly showing all our neighbors we are not our own.
Before I extinguish our chalice, I just want to say thank you to the more than 80 who have joined us here in the sanctuary today, and the more than 40 who have joined us online from far off places such as Maryland and even Scotland. So thank you all for worshiping with us today. And now we extinguish this flame, but not the light and love of community which burns in our hearts.
As the postlude plays, as Diane plays us out today, I invite you to remain seated so that the worship team can exit down the aisle and greet you outside. And we'll try to exit row by row, beginning in the back and moving from the back to the front. That might help us to avoid clumping in the middle. There will be no in-person coffee hour this week or the next Sunday. We are planning for after that, but not just for the rest. We're focusing on this right now, and then we'll get there. But for those of you who are joining us online, you are welcome to come back for our virtual social time on Zoom. Same Zoom link as always. And now I leave you today with this blessing. May you go wherever you go, knowing that you carry the light of this church within you. May you go knowing that even when you are not in church, even when the chalice is not lit, you carry the light of truth in your minds and the flame of love in your hearts. That light, the light from truth and love, will never go out.